Apologies for all that. I have just realised my mic has been on. My mic's been on mute, and I have been commentating for the first 10 minutes. Commentating for the first 10 minutes, and you've not been able to hear absolutely anything. So I really apologise for that. I thought I was doing quite well at the commentary, to be fair, for the first bit. Not saying anything. Doberman goes on pole. Great lap from the McLaren driver onto a 1 minute 9.3. Thank you for pointing that out in the chat on the YouTube stream. And now, so we recap what's happened in the session so far. So it was Brandon right at the start who got disqualified for blocking in the pit lane. I don't know even how you can block in the pit lane, because when we looked at him on the exits, Hayward goes fastest, 1 minute 9.3. The times are really tumbling now as everyone looks to drop into the low 1 minute 9s. But yeah, Brandon, of course, the championship man, currently second in the championship, and he'll be hoping that Gu doesn't climb much farther up the order. There's 19 points between the pair of them, and Brandon, I think, will be very gutted with that disqualification, because of course he is now starting plumb last, and Super Bounty, sadly for him, dropped it. Dropped it coming out of turn 9. Very easy to do, especially on the mediums with no loss of grip. So Brandon saying he came out of the pits and forgot he had. Basically, I've been checking stuff before and you just come out of the pits and not realise you've crossed the exit of the pit lane. It seems like a lot of guys just waiting to do laps as Gu comes to set his, and it's a 1 minute 8.9 from the Red Bull. What a lap from the championship leader. First man into the 1 minute 8s, and that is a fantastic lap, over 4 tenths up on Hayward. There's still plenty of time left in the session. Looks like he will be about to start another lap. Oh no, coming to pits, so he'll be ready to go again very soon. And Skippy as well coming into the pits. So I think people are on out laps or just come into the pits, and Super Bounty will be the first person, Undertaker, the wrong Haas, will be the first person to set a lap on this set of runs. And now as he climbs the hill, running through the kinks of turn 14 and 15, opening up onto the start finish straight, DRS wide open up into 8th gear, and he's got all the ERS to deploy as he's ready to go on this lap down into the first corner through the center S's, and now into the long turn 3, and he's already had the lap invalidated. Very easy to do on that inside curve. Bogrovsky, the second man, setting his run, opening DRS up into 8th. And where's this time going? He is on an out lap. So we'll move on from that as we see who is currently out on lap. We've got Luss just about to start his flying lap as he goes through the center S's, perfectly judging that run through there without corner cutting, so good from him. He'll be looking to jump up. Of course, he was the first person to make the jump to the low 1 minute 9s, and it's a slight improvement into the 16s. First time into the 16 second for the first sector, and now he climbs the hill, approaching turn 6 and then into 7, and if you're looking at the slow speed corner of 8 now, down into second gear, trying to get a good turn in, the Mercedes driver. Now this is where the Haas dropped it earlier, but he's just about gets away with it, running onto the dirt as well. And now dropping down the hill through Magulio, And they were looking to get a really good run out of Zheng Zhao. Fastest in the middle sector as well. That is a good combination time as well from the first and second. Now he's got to keep it on the road. He's got just about enough ERS deployment to keep the speed going. Opens DRS, and this could be a really competitive lap from the Mercedes. Could he drop into the 1 minute 8s? Not quite. It is an improvement to a 1 minute 9.3. Little improvement, which does put him ahead of Dopiman in the McLaren. Good luck from Lust. Potentially time for one more run, even with coming into the pit. So I don't think you want to do more than one lap on these tyres. Bogger obviously looking to improve on that 1 minute 9.7. Undertaker just over 1/10 in front of him as he now comes into Zheng Zhao. Just 3/10 down on this lap, so might be looking to go again after this one. We've got Fifi on an out lap as well as Gu, obviously provisional pole man, and Bogger pulls into the pits. We've got Peter Park running a little bit wide there onto the grass, so maybe just losing it a tad as Fifi flies past. Skippy's got an invalidated lap as well this time around. Composite looking to improve, very, very marginal on his middle sector time. What's this time going to do for him? It puts him up into P7, just outside the 1 minute 9 bracket. As Lust, I think, might be pulling into the pits, or he does pull into the pits, so I think it will be, he might just about get another run. It's going to be very close, as a few guys with invalidated laps. Bogger obviously did come into the pits, of course, earlier on. But Gu, very, very close in his first sector time. Not an improvement, but 0.02 of a second off. We'll go on board with Fifi in a minute. I just want to see if we can get an even quicker time from Gu. We'll see what his middle sector split is. We'll keep an eye on Fifi's. He's coming down through the centre S's right now, and now into turn 3. We see him on the mini-map on the right-hand side now. And as we climb up the hill in the Red Bull, he goes into turn number 11. He dropped down the hill, and what's this middle sector split going to look like? It's going to be, oh, he's gone fast in the middle sector, but he's 100th of a second off his time. We'll follow this and jump straight on board with Fifi, who seems to be very popular in the comments. And he's going to pull into the bits. He does pull into bits, so obviously not happy with his run out the final corner. And Fifi now in the Toro Rosso. Only Toro Rosso on the grid today. As he goes down, dropping down Magulio through turn 12 and towards Zheng Zhao. Was the very important traction zone. We'll see what his middle sector is like. 6/10 up on his lap now, so could be looking to really throw himself in the mix with the guys at the sort of top 5 area. We'll see what his run through the final couple of kinks towards the start finish line is. DRS open now for Fifi as he comes towards the line. What is this going to be? It's a 5th place for the Toro Rosso. Good lap from him to put him up the order, and a big improvement. So the times are tumbling for a lot of guys. Composite is going to probably have another go. Not a very good first sector for him. Skippy looks like he's coming to the pits. Another invalidated lap. Dopeman on his lap now as well, and he has gone. He's a big half a tenth improvement in the first sector. So we'll be looking to try and claw back a little bit of time on Luss and Hayward, because P2 is definitely there for him with that time. We see as other guys come towards the start line. Looks like everyone currently is pulling into the pits with 26 seconds left in the session. Of course, Dopeman trying to fight for that P3 in the championship, and that is still definitely attainable off Composite, who's not probably had the ideal qualifying he would have wanted now. As Dopeman drops down the hill, as he runs towards the crossover between the second and third sectors, and he's going to be purple in the middle sector, almost 3/10 up. And if he gets a good run through this final sector, he potentially could have been challenging Gu for the pole position here, as the checkered flag is out. So these will be the final runs for us to have a look at. Dopeman, as he runs towards the line now, it's going to be a 1 minute 9 flat, so that puts him into P2, a fastest final sector. Big improvements from the McLaren, and Hayward not getting a 10th up, but of course with Dopeman's brilliant lap moments before, stays in P3. So Luss will be the next man to cross the line. And whereabouts is this run going to put him? You see, with guys improving in front, he's have to find a little bit more time than he initially did. And what's this? And he's almost a second down, so not great for the Mercedes driver. Bogarovsky as well. He's gone wide, and that's going to that's his lap done, unfortunately for him. And that looks like it could be the end of qualifying for the finale of Season 6, C4, and the 13 drivers will be ready to battle it out for 36 laps here around the Interlagos circuit. With what should be a fascinating race. I don't know what the weather conditions are like for the race, so we'll have to sort of analyse that as we go, of course, as changeable conditions here are so easy to come about, and of course it can very easily go from wet to dry or dry to wet. So maybe some of the guys have already got wet setups on, knowing something we don't. But it's been the perfect qualifying session for the championship leader, looking to confirm it today. With Gu on pole, Doberman in second, Hayward in third, and Brandon gutting for him, just not quite paying attention as he came out the pit lane. And unfortunately blocking in the pit lane, which is really annoying as he's starting 13th. Of course, the championship leader on pole. It's another pole for Gu. Of course, has been got the didn't get the pole last time out, because that was Brandon. So what could have been for Brandon today has been looking really quick in recent races, especially since I started commentating on the C4 races. Of course, Gu did get the pole up in the previous round at Singapore, so of course both of them super quick in this series this season. Of course, both of them having over 4 wins apiece, and Gu getting on the podium 11 times this season. So good stuff from him. But there are battles all the way down the field in the championship table, so big results today for drivers could see them jump up quite a few places. We've got quite a big battle for third between Composite and Doberman, and unfortunately Dr. Stevens is not here today, so can't challenge for that. But Sue Bounty could join in on that and could jump Dr. Stevens, only needing 5 points to do so. Hayward, I think, is in sort of no man's land in 7th in the championship, but you never know, could jump some of the guys in front as we're ready for the formation lap here. Bogorowski in 9th, with battling with Lust for P8, just 1 point separates them. Fifi in 10th could also join in on that battle, being on 42 points. Timmy Turtle on 27 points. Skippy on 24 and 12. Undertaker in 13th with 24 points, and Pete the Pirate in 14th on 22 points. But we'll run through the grid order now, and it's Gu on pole position. The championship leader has been the perfect, absolutely perfect start for qualifying session for the Red Bull driver, and he'll be hoping that he finishes exactly like this, as Brandon has gone for hards at the start of this race. So the only man on hards, even the guys who started outside the top 10 opting for soft compound tyres, and Brandon looking to go really deep into this race, hoping to avoid any incidents and maybe utilise the safety car later on, or even there might even be wet conditions that he's trying to hold out for. We just don't know at this stage. This Doberman has dropped back quite a bit from Gu not mucking about on this formation lap, wanting to get on with it and hope for him getting the job done, I am sure. As we get ready for the grid to form, it looks like we got completely blue skies, so we could have a completely dry race today. And we'll just see. We've got Doberman in second, Hayward in third, Luss in P4, Fifi in P5. Big following on the YouTube stream for him. Undertaker in 6th, Bogorowski in 7th, Composite in 8th, Pete the Pirate in 9th, Skippy in 10th, Super Bounty in 11th, Timmy the Turtle in 12th, and Brandon 999 rounding them up in P13. And we're ready for 36 laps here as the grid forms for the final time in Season 6 of the C4 category, and we are awaiting the lights now for the start of the finale, round 14 in Sao Paulo. As we wait for the lights, we have 1, we have 2, 3, 4 and 5, and it's lights out and away we go. And it looks to be actually a good start for the McLaren. He could be looking to go side by side into turn 1, might try and send it down the inside. Mercedes looking there as well. but he holds on the position. Hayward just about holds on the third, but Mercedes goes round the outside of him. Good move from Luss. Positions changing. Brown has managed to make up one position as well. As we look now, they get into single file order as Fifi could be looking for a move up the inside, but just ducks back on this first lap as everyone now files through. See Undertaker climbing up the hill, Bolter looking for a way past but knocked up the hill on this occasion. Now as they come into the middle sector, it's a bit more single file, but we could see a potential lunge up the inside. Of course, very easy to do at this circuit. And now as they come down at Magulio towards Yung Chao, the final corner, we could see some moves into turn one as Hayward could be looking to try and get on the back of Luss. The gap's all still very close as things stand. And we see Bogrovsky still stuck behind the Haas as things stand. Gu, of course, that's the fastest lap of the race, being the first man across the line. Will the Williams have a look in someone just too far back on this occasion? We see everyone else follows through into turn one, and we could have a move out the back. Peter Pirate trying to find a way past the Mercedes of Brandon. They're side by side now, battling for P12. Brandon trying to make the hard tyres work, and they're side by side on the rung down towards the Cena del Lago. And he's going to have the inside line, and will he manage to keep it stick? Peter Pirate might try and make the switch, but he's going to try and hang it around the outside. He goes wide, and he's going to compromise him, and Brandon keeps hold of that position. Now as the cars, we're on board with Undertaker, is on the back of Fifi. Can he find a way past into the middle sector? He might just have to wait until the run towards the first corner. Of course, DRS enabled after the end of this lap on lap 2. The end of lap 2. And we'll see as they come out of the final corner. Composite right on the back of the Renault as they climb the way up the hill. He'll be in the slipstream towards turn 1. Gu trying to extend his lead out front. Peter Pirate has retired, so I don't know what's happened there. Potentially may have dropped it, and we have a safety car for it. So first big incident. We didn't quite see what happened to the Alfa Romeo, but could have dropped it, or maybe a bit of contact with Brandon at the back. For the start of a very long race, the safety car just coming out there. So I think these guys are going to have to overtake it. This could be quite treacherous. We know what the safety car's like on this game. If you come anywhere near it, and it seems everyone is getting past all right as things stand. And Timmy just trying to find his way past, and now but will anyone pull the trigger on strategy? Some of the soft runners could duck into the pit lane for hards and maybe try and go to the end. Of course, getting that free pit stop from the safety car. Maybe Brandon might try and get rid of those hard compound tyres now. He might have been hoping for an early safety car to do that. Of course, it's quite a short lap here, so not a lot of time under the safety car, but there's plenty of time for him to duck into the pit lane and re-catch up to the back of the pack, because they're all running to a delta at the moment. But once they cross the line, they can blast towards that safety car, and anyone coming into the pits early on, no one's taking the risk as things stand. I think everyone is going to stay out, including Brandon, so no one going for an aggressive early stop, trying to utilise that safety car. As we now wait for the pack to catch up, and I think we'll have one lap under the safety car and go racing for the end of lap 5. But it has been a pretty clean start between the lot of them so far, and Gu has currently got the championship in the bag. And if we look further down the order, based on the current order of things, Doperman will be jumping composite for P3 in the championship, making that late move, and Super Bounty not quite in the point share, so won't be catching up to Dr. Stevens, who's currently in 5th, 5 points ahead of him. But the battle between Luss and Bogorovsky, so far Luss has the better of him, but of course there's still a long way to go in this race. Many things can change round here at Brazil. The whole pack is in order now. The safety car's in this lap, so we barely even caught up to the safety car, and we're going to go racing. So we'll see when Gu decides to pull the trigger. When does he decide to go? Of course, you can't go too early. Trying to get heat into the tyres. And he thought about going there, but I think the safety car is not quite far enough away. And see when he decides to go. Down in second gear, ready to get a good launch. And I think he has gone. And Skippy's got a 5-second penalty for collision with Bogorowski. So I don't know if he's got damage. A crash under the safety car. And Hayward looking for a move, but not quite finding it. And up the inside. Undertaker went round the outside there. Brilliant move on Fifi. I think may have broken a tiny bit early into the first corner. Timmy the Turtle seems to have dropped down the order as well. Composite maybe trying to find a way past Skippy. Could have damage after what we saw in getting a 5-second penalty for a collision with Bogorowski. Now as they climb the wall, Undertaker really wanted to get a good charge on here as he overtook Fifi on the first corner. Now right on the back of Hayward. Luss also right up on the back of the McLaren of Doperman, and Gu has got over a second gap, so he's safe from DRS already. As Composite still on the back of the Renault, trying to see if he can find a way past through sector 2, but he could have a good run towards the line now. As Luss now right on the back of the McLaren, looking to get into P2 as Bogorowski has gone past Fifi, so a little error there maybe from the Toro Rosso driver. And Luss now towards turn 1, already looking at the inside, but he might just be too far back on this occasion to make a move. Fifi, a little lock up into turn 1, but doesn't matter on this occasion. And Luss now dropping back a tiny bit through the centre S's. They can't make any moves into turn 4. Skipping out on the back of Fifi, so got a good run out of turn 3, but the corner just comes too quickly for him. Composite on the back of the Renault as well now. So here we trying to find a way, but I think you can pit sort of just before halfway through this race. The softs do go quite a distance, so we could see the guys going quite long into this race. Of course, Brandon on the hard tyres does not have to pit till much later. Can probably go to the end of the race realistically, but of course you have to make that one pit stop during the race now. And Hayward, we're closing in on Luss towards the first corner. The gap just drops increasingly. We get it down under 3/10 as DRS is now enabled as we've been racing for 2 laps. Right behind the Mercedes, but can't quite find a way past as Fifi and Skippy are side by side into turn 1. Fifi goes a bit deeper. Skippy tried to make the cut back, but couldn't quite make it work now, and he's going to get potentially the run on Fifi as they go down the Retta Aposta towards turn 4. Going side by side, almost going to get a view from it from Composite, and he's being overtaken for good measure. And I think Fifi has held the position in Super Bounty, managing to get past the Red Bull of Composite, and Brandon has made his way up past Timmy the Turtle. We've got a big battle here for 7th. Fifi just holding on to that position, and Luss has lost out to Hayward as we were watching that. So he'll be trying to get back past the Racing Point, who's another driver who looks very racy at the start of this race. Mercedes just dropping back as he gets the dirty air coming through the middle sector. And now as they climb up the hill, I think he might be too far back. It's a good launch out of Jung Chao from Hayward. The gap now building up to over 7/10, so going to be too far back on this occasion, but he will have DRS of course. Super Bounty, we're looking at the back of Skippy in the Renault. Already got a lot of more ERS and already closing in. Skippy trying to defend, trying to break the toe. We're too far back on this occasion. As he goes into turn 1, taking a much acuter line. I'm looking to get a good run out onto turn 3. Fifi still leading this battle for P7. He's got DRS, but it was a good run from the Renault. His DRS himself. Looking at Fifi, but the corner again just comes too quickly for him. Brandon right on the back of Composite. And Timmy the Turtle comes into the pit, so we're coming in for hards. Might have had a bit of damage, not too sure. But here we're trying to go long and maybe to the end of this race now. Will the Williams, as this battle for P7, all of them within a second of each other as they now come towards turn 11, and they'll drop down the hill into Magulio and towards Zheng Chao, the final corner. Fifi's got a really good run in the middle sector and has built a gap now. Small gap, but a key one for him. Fifi's got a good run. He seems to be closing in on the Toro Rosso already. And it looks like they're all going to be too far back to have moves on this occasion, but of course into turn 1 you can still make moves coming out of it towards turn 4. And they'll tuck in through the centre S's. And now as they run towards turn 4, again it's a little DRS train is really helping Skippy defend from Super Bounty behind. He's to make a late dive, but it was a good braking from Skippy to make sure there was no way through for Super Bounty. And Brandon's still stuck behind Composite in the Red Bull now as they climb their way into the twisty part of the lap. So close between these guys, running a little bit wide. Skippy but gets away with it, and they go into turn 11, now down the hill towards the final corner. Renault runs a little bit wide, and that's going to compromise him. That could put Super Bounty onto the back of him now as they climb up the hill towards the first corner. He's going to have DRS, and he's put it up into hot lap ERS mode. I'm looking to get a move on the Renault. Looks to the inside, dummies him, goes to the inside, and we're looking for a move down into turn 1. And he sends it, and he gets the move done into turn 1. Great move from the Haas driver. Now he'll be hoping to get after the Toro Rosso up front, but Skippy could be coming straight back at him now. Of course, he's the one who's going to have DRS on this occasion, and Super Bounty's not going to get it as the Toro Rosso's too far up the road. Running in towards turn 4, he has to tuck back in there, not having as much ERS as the Haas driver in front, and that could compromise him on some of the straights. But obviously close onto Undertaker as they've dropped back a tiny bit from the quartet out front, and he'll be looking to jump him maybe into turn 1. This battle for the final points paying positions is still on, but I think we're going to follow Bogrossi into turn 1, and he's just dropped back a tiny bit through this middle sector as it's now at the high end of a second. Gets a good run out the final corner, and as they climb up the hill trying to find the slipstream from the Haas driver in front, DRS open. He runs towards turn 1. He's going to, the overspeed is brilliant from the Williams driver, goes to the inside, and he's going to get the move done into turn 1. But he runs a little bit wide, and this could see the Haas trying to go round the outside. He's just about squeezed through as they run out of turn 3 and towards turn 4. Obviously looking to maybe go up the inside of the Haas. Super Bounty has got past Fifi, but Bogrossi just not finding the way through. And the Renault is side by side with Composite. Composite, I think, just about has had to back out, but Super Bounty managed to get past into turn 1 as we were following the battle for P5, and Bogrossi has dropped back behind the Haas. Coming out of turn 4, Fifi gets the first multiple warning penalty, so that could, with the guys being so close on track at the moment, that could be a big difference at the end between some of them. Quite easy to do, especially through the centre S's on this first lap. Brandon is right behind this quartet of cars, looking to find a way past. As it gone wide there, it's Fifi, and Composite will be looking to get past. They're side by side, bit of contact between the pair of them. As now, bit of contact. Fifi just about holds it. No, he's dropped it. He's dropped it coming out of the corner. Spinning now is the Toro Rosso. And Composite seems the one who's benefited from this, and Brandon has made a place up as well. As the two of them are coming out the corner, Bogrossi has dropped behind. He's come into... Bogrossi into the wall. He's into the wall in an awkward place. I don't know how you end up there. Seems to have spun it on the exit of turn 2, and he's dropped down, and now it's a Haas P5 and P6. But it seemed as I think Fifi had a poor exit coming out of Zheng Chao, and Skippy came alongside him, and they just bit of contact between them, and the high speeds caused a bit of carnage, and Fifi was the one who came out worse. His brave defence of P7 has fallen short, and Brandon has benefited from that tussle on the run towards turn 1 as he now moves up into P8, slowly working his way up the field. And of course, something he needs to do, of course, Gu currently winning the championship as things stand, already had a gap of 19 points, so it was going to be a massive ask for the Mercedes driver, but you never know, it still could be on. Only just over a third into this race now as they come into towards turn 1. Still seems to be on track, closest on track battle at the moment now as they come. It's going to have DRS on this occasion. I think he might be too far back in towards turn 4. Is he closing constantly but not quite enough? And Skippy's just behind this. I think maybe has a bit of front wing damage from that. I know he looks okay. Looks okay from a visual point of view, but might have light damage from the contact with Fifi, who currently is dropped into P11 on the hard tyre. So another driver who could be looking to go to the end and make a massive undercut work as these guys battle it out for P7. Composite just... Sorry, Bounty just managed to pull away from this as he was the first person to get past Fifi. And now as they come towards Zheng Chao, Brandon, we wanted to have a go as Luss pulls the trigger with the guys at the front. He comes into the pits out of the front quartet, and what tyres will be coming into? We've got someone else coming into the pits as well. Nope, no one came into the pits that time around, as Luss is going to come onto the hard tyres, and he'll be looking to the end. Brandon had a look up the inside there but thought better of it on the Red Bull man, and now he's going to try and make the switch back work. He's going to get a much better exit than Composite into the Red Bull. He's already right behind him now. DRS open. This should be an easy done and dusted move into turn 4, and he gets the move done on the inside. Will Composite try and switch him back? He's going to get a good exit on those softs, but I think Brandon is just going to have enough on the run towards turn 6 and 7. And now, as they climb the hill into the middle sector, Brandon can set his sights on the Haas in front. Bogos, who comes in the pits for medium tyres, and looks like Timmy will be joining him as well. We've got yellow flag in sector 2. That Skippy is gone. Skippy's gone. Dropped it. Where I believe it was Bounty did in qualifying, jumping over the grass. Is the Renault driver, and he's going to drop right down the order and might have to pit as he looks like he's got front wing damage as well. Composite still right behind Brandon as they come towards turn 1. Brandon doing his best to reel in the Haas up the road as well. And we'll see what Brandon can do in towards turn 4. Now as they come, and Bounty going a little bit wider onto the grass, not going to help him into turn 4 now. And as Brandon's right behind him, surely can't find a way past up the hill. He's going to try and look to the outside, but I think Bounty's just going to have him covered off on this occasion as they come into the middle sector now. No room here as Skippy does come into the pits for hard tyres, so Fifi's managed to jump him, and looks like Bogrovsky will as well. And now Brandon right tucked up right underneath the rear wing of the Haas, and Luss is 7 seconds behind this battle, so he'll be hoping he has good paces. Hayward comes into the pit, so he'll be hoping to be ahead of the Mercedes of Luss as they come out of the pit lane. Bounty under pressure now from Brandon in the Mercedes. He could be looking to the outside and potentially dive around the outside or play the long game and do the switchback, but Bounty's tight into the corner, so we can't get a good run out of there. And now as they come down through turn 3 onto the retro post, he's going to have DRS already tucked behind that house, trying to gain a bit of slipstream, and now looks to the outside as they dive into turn 4, and he tries and sweep round the outside as he cuts them. We'll see what it is, and it is the move done for Brandon in the Mercedes. Good move as the hard tyres start to come into their own against the old softs, and Hayward comes out ahead of Luss for him, so that's crucial for him, but he's opted for the medium tyres rather than the hards. They're taking a strategic decision, and we'll see at the end of the race if there is no rain or more safety cars. We'll see if that pays off for the Racing Point. But now we've got Composite on the back of Super Bounty after losing that 4th place to Brandon. See none of the front 3 coming into the pits. And right on the back now is the Red Bull as they climb up the hill. He's going to have DRS with yellow flag in sector 1. I don't know who that is for, because they both come into the pits. They're both coming into the pits now. And we'll see Super Bounty getting a penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and Composite just about judged it right. And we'll see now the battle between Haas and Red Bull, putting on the medium tyres, both of them putting on the medium tyres. And as Composite comes out, he's going to be behind the Haas of Super Bounty on this occasion, but he'll do his best, I'm sure, to catch up to the back of him, as Luss and Hayward both go past those two. So Brandon now, I think, needs to try and just push and try and stay clear, try and build a gap to the guys he was racing with, and he should jump them when he comes into the pits. Everyone's sort of spread out now, getting on as we come through the pits. The face Goo comes into the pits, so the race leader is into the pits. We'll see what Doperman follows him into the pits, and what about Undertaker behind as well. Have to see what he decides to do. Let's go into the pits. Coming onto the medium tyres now is the race leader, and I assume Doperman will do the same. He's going half the race on the softs, meaning you can do half the race easily on the mediums. As Brandon now will surely, Hayward says the fastest lap of the race, so really pushing now to try and make the undercut work as Brandon goes up into P2. But Hayward, I think, was too far back on Doperman. They'll be racing into turn 4. I think the fresh tyres of the heated tyres, he's already warmed up his tyres, has the racing point, and he could be onto the back of Doperman towards the end of this lap. And Composite is right behind Super Bounty's. Undertaker's literally coming out of the pits now, so we'll join the battle straight away between Super Bounty and Composite. And it's Composite who's currently in a Haas sandwich as things stand. Of course, in the Constructors' Championship, Haas currently in P5, who sort of look in no man's land at the moment, with Red Bull having confirmed it. The Constructors looks pretty much done. The main battle between Toro Rosso and Williams, so Fifi were looking to battle with Bogorovsky over Constructors' bragging rights. As things stand, as 1 point separates them and them being the only drivers in the race for their team. As Hayward within a second of Doperman out front as they run towards turn 1, but we're going to see if Composite can get past Super Bounty on the medium tyres. Looks to be having the better of things on the mediums as things stand now, as they climb up the hill towards turn 1. They're going to, Composite will have DRS, of course. Taking a very tight line there is the Haas, and towards turn 1 he could just be too far back on this occasion. But I'm sure we could be battling down into turn 4, of course, at the end of the other DRS straight. And Undertaker is right behind as well, onto the curb a little bit, but gets the power down as quick as he can now. And we're going to be, I think the main battle could be between Undertaker and Composite. We could have almost 3 wide into turn 4, and he's going to go up the inside. Composite can try and hang it round the outside. Just get squeezed off a little bit. Fair racing, I'd say, between the two of them. And Undertaker slots in front of the Red Bull to now be after his teammate Super Bounty. And now as they come into the middle sector, again back into single file for these first couple of corners, and these two are back to make a dive into turn 11, I'm sure, at this stage of the race. We'll see, I wonder how far Brandon will go on those hards. Surely he'll come into the softs for the final stint, and he'll be really hoping for a late safety car, as very deep there goes Undertaker, and Composite's going to try and take advantage of this as they run now up the hill out of Jung Chao, climbing up through the gears. High ERS mode for the Red Bull man, an overtake for the Haas. He's even too far back as he's dropped back massively down the straight. So as Undertaker is very deep in towards turn number 1, and this could be Composite's opportunity to regain that position, but the Haas driver in front has DRS as well, and with his superior straight line speed keeps the position into turn 4. So it looks like a very orthodox race as things stand. Very early safety car. No one really decided to go for a early strategic call. Everyone just running sort of a standard strategy, unless there was incidents. For them, we did see a few, like Skippy, Bogrovsky and Fifi. This Dopeman is right up behind Brandon, of course, on the fresh mediums, so we'll be looking for a way past into turn 4, hoping that Mercedes doesn't hold him up too much. Of course, been on those tyres since the start of the race. And as he opens the DRS and runs towards turn 4, will Brandon fight this hard? And looks like it'll be a late dive, or just a little bit too far back as he dives up the inside, keeping it clean between the pair. I think Brandon knew he was coming, and the battle behind for P6 stays as it is. A few penalties starting to creep in as the drivers start to get more and more warnings now. But I think this autumn, and you see maybe around the outside is, and they're going to go wheel to wheel, the two Haas drivers. It's a bit of a love tap there as they come through turn 5, and they're still side by side. Composite will be wanting to try and get in on the action as well. Could be looking around the outside, but just tucks in behind for the time being of the Haas in front. A little bit squirmy as they approach turn 8. That's a tuck in behind for the time being, but could be a move at the front as Dopeman catches up to the Mercedes of Brandon, opting to stay out on this lap. He's going to have at least 14 laps, and the McLaren looks to go down the inside and looks to be a textbook move on the fresher tyres, as Mercedes very cleverly lets him dive up the inside now, and he's going to get a good run, but I think Mercedes will be too far back, not quite having the grip through the first couple of corners, and the battle for P6 is still on, with Undertaker and Composite both having DRS, taking the shortest run they can towards the first corner. And they'll be too far back to have any moves. The Haas drivers get very close into the first corner. Undertaker trying to take a quick line and has lost it, and two bounties lost it as well, and they're going to come to blows, and it's into the wall, and it's out of for Composite, pushed off there by Undertaker, who tried to avoid his teammate. Not great for the Red Bull drivers, and it's a virtual safety car, so if Brandon can get closer to the pit lane, this could he could utilise this himself, but just dropping it, it's almost pushing to the wall there by one of the Haas drivers who was trying to avoid his teammate. Not great for the Red Bull driver, who was looking to hold on to P3 in the championship. Dopeman, as things stands, will be jumping him, because Composite will be getting no points on the board currently sat, and we're racing again, Composite into P11 now. Frustrating for the Red Bull driver, couldn't do anything to avoid the contact, and Brandon onto the back of Dopeman. I think he definitely has had a good restart, but on the older tyres, not quite close enough on this occasion. I think, yeah, that decision between the Haas will have to go to the stewards. I'm not quite sure who's at fault, because it could come under as a racing incident, just because Undertaker was just trying to avoid his teammate, and then Composite trying to avoid them, and it got a little bit messy with the Haas driver losing it on the curb. But let's see what the stewards think about that after the race. That's one that could maybe affect some of those championship positions around sort of 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, as the guys get away under the safety car, virtual safety car restart. And Brandon currently in 3rd, but Gu is having the perfect finale himself, out in front and looking to complete the championship today with a win. Of course, getting pole as well. Brandon comes into the pits, so I assume he'll be coming into the pits for soft camera tyres, will be coming out behind his teammate, currently in P5, and now moves up into P4. And will there be a bit of team play between the two Mercedes? Because Luss currently fighting to stay ahead of Bogrovsky in the championship for P8. And he does come on to the soft camera tyres, does Brandon. As two Haas drivers getting closer once again. Not sure, is there a bit of damage for one of them? Of course, with that little alteration between them, Skippy gets a small time penalty. Both look to still have their front wings, so as Fifi and Bogrovsky are battling it into turn 1, Fifi sends it up the inside, and Bogrovsky can have the better run through turn 2, but runs wide himself, as Fifi now could be finding a way past the Williams drivers are going to have DRS as they run towards turn number 4. And looking up the inside goes Fifi on the Harcommon tyres. Not too much of an acute angle in the corner, and he has to sit behind the Williams for this lap. Both pitted over 10 laps ago now. Bogossi on the mediums, Fifi on the hard, so got those tyres in a nice working window as things stand. And 2 Haas drivers could be battling into turn 1 as things stand as well, as Undertaker right on the back of his teammate as they climb up the hill now. Subanti will be looking to defend the position, trying to break the toe already as he takes a nice tight line, defending that inside line very aggressively, not letting his teammate dive up the inside. As they go into turn 1, Undertaker swoops around the outside but runs a little bit too wide onto the curb, and he's to come back across, and his teammate has to back out of it to avoid a crash. And does he have any damage on the front wing? I'm not sure. It doesn't look like, it does on the front right as we look at it. So the Haas drivers getting involved in a few incidents in this final race in the C4 Championship for RLH Season 6. Has come into the middle sector now. Subanti is going to be compromised heavily, so he's already dropping back as they work into this downforce heavy part of the track. And that's going to be annoying for the Haas driver, and Fifi seems to just drop back a little bit from Bogorovsky as he managed to keep the position after turn 4 we saw on this lap as they were battling and coming out of turn 1. But whilst we got a short break in the battles with the Haas drivers slowly starting to separate, we can have a quick look, see what the penalty positions are like. We got Gu out front, who is got 2 warnings, so next warning course will result in a penalty. Dopeyman currently completely clean. Haywood has 2 warnings to his name, so another driver, 1 more, and he'll get a small penalty. Only 1 for Luss. Brandon is just got the 1. Undertaker has a few and a penalty as well, as I think Subanti has come into the pit, so he's going to change that front wing, come onto the softs and try and be very racy towards the end with 10 laps to go in this Brazilian Grand Prix. And where were we on checking with the penalties? Undertaker, he's got a few penalties from the last few laps, of course, maybe those ultimate incidents with his teammate and the Red Bull. Bogossi just got a penalty actually, so he's got 3 seconds to his name. Fifi has a few penalties, quite a few penalties, but you never know what can happen at the end of this race. A few penalties for Subanti and the Haas. Skippy has 2 penalties as well, and then all the other drivers have unfortunately DNF from this race, as we see there. Bogossi getting that 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Well, it's been a very interesting race, and the battle at the front. I think Haywood will be wanting to catch up towards Dopeyman. However, it does require a race win for Haywood to climb up anywhere in the championship. He's sort of in no man's land, currently sat in 6th, but as things stand, will be doubling his podium count up to 2, because only having 1 so far this season. The driver definitely has a lot of pace in him, so maybe if he's racing in the Asia Cup, which follows season 6 of the F1, looking to get a few more podiums, maybe even a win to his name. Because this is the final round of the 14 event RLH F1 season 6, and after this we compete in the Asia Cup as Brandon goes fastest on the new soft, so looking to already catch up to his teammate. But yes, after this we are doing the Asia Cups, which is a 8 race event around some of the circuits around Asia, and including Australia and Azerbaijan as well, just before the new F1 Games course that is approaching mid-July, I believe. Brandon closing in on his teammate now. The field slowly has started to spread out as a few incidents and pit stops have been completed. As he climbs up the hill towards the hairpin, he's closing constantly on his teammate. This seems to be a battle that is coming to a start, really, as Brandon was wanting to get up into P4 to take advantage of any incidents. Of course, a late safety car here will really throw a spanner in the works. It is worth any of the guys coming in for fresh softs, and Brandon will be in the hot seat if that happened right now, as he sets another fastest lap of the race, looking to really close the gap on his teammate as he comes now down through the centre S's and through turn 3 onto the Retro-Aposta. The gap now just over 1 second, so not having DRS as things stand, as he comes into turn 4 and up into the middle sector. He's looking to really close with those fresh tyres, 10 lap younger soft compound tyres, and with a yellow flag in sector 3. Looks like it is Fifi. Fifi has gone at the exit of Zheng Chao. So I don't know what's happened for him there. There's a yellow flag. No, we've got a virtual safety car. He's gone into the wall. I don't know, maybe he locked up or had an issue under traction. But Fifi, unfortunately for him, has lost it after a good qualifying session, not having the perfect race course. An incident with the Renault really really ruined his race. In all honesty, he was fighting hard for P7, and he's going to be the one who drops down into P10 with DNF getting that final point. We wait to get racing once again. We'll see what Brandon can do on the restart. We'll see when the virtual safety car ends. He'll be, and he gets a 3-second time penalty there. Brandon, I think that is his first penalty, and he'll be looking to get racy with his teammate, trying to close his way up to the front and waiting for the virtual safety car to end. It's been very long as the car has been cleared, and we're just waiting to get racing in green flag conditions once again. Bogros, he has a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC. He might just get away with that as we're racing once again. He comes straight into the pits to serve that, and we'll see Bounty just going through the final corner. Bogros might just get away with it and hold on to that P7 as Brandon is right behind his teammate now. The gap less than half a second as they come into turn 11, and they'll drop down through Magulio, turn 12. And we'll see Bogros is going to be right behind. He's going to be right behind Gu, the race leader, so he's just about a lap down. And also Super Bounty, as he now runs out the pit lane. He'll be in P8, but we'll be on board with Brandon now as they run towards turn 1. He's out DRS which opens now, but he's already right onto the back of his teammate, looking to the inside. I think Lust knew it was coming at some point, and Brandon swoops back onto the racing line as he moves up into 4th position, and he'll do his absolute best now to catch up to Haywood, I am sure, but I think the gap might just be too big for anything to happen. As things stand, as there we see Bogros just pulling out of the way of the McLaren, which is currently in P2. Doman, it'll be his 5th podium of the season as he jumps Composite. Of course, Composite having that unfortunate incident with the 2 Haas drivers, and Doman will be promoted up to 3rd in the championship, so a good race for the McLaren driver. But as things stand, it will be Gu who is crowned the championship winner of the C4 Category 4 series at RLH. He's currently 7 seconds out in front, and it has been a faultless race so far for the Red Bull. Boggs comes into the pits again, so maybe going in for fastest lap, giving it a go on the softs. And we'll see Brandon he sets another fastest lap of the race. And as the gap just drops under there for a second, under 10 seconds between him and Haywood. He'll be trying to reel him in as much as he can, hoping for a mistake from the Racing Point, who of course is on currently the oldest mediums and joint oldest tyres of the field. As yes, Boggs came in for softs and might just be looking to go for fastest lap to try and gain that extra point. Of course, he is in the battle. He's in a battle with Lust, so every point could matter for him if there's an incident for Lust towards the end of the race. But it looks like he has had a good race in P5, picking up 10 points as things stand. Brandon now got the gap down by 4/10 on this lap at the moment, so I don't think it's going to be enough to reel Haywood in as things stand. We have had a dry race, and it will be dry to the end, I'm sure. but one with, as Gu gets a 3-second time penalty. So first blemish on the report for Gu's race, as Brandon comes towards the first corner, taking about 7/10 out of Hayward, so not enough on this time round. It's a 1:11.1, just slower, only just slower than his previous lap. As Hayward just coming up to Skippy, who's in P8 at the moment. Bogos, who's just starting his first lap on the soft. You can just see visually, it looks like he's going very quick. Got it up into a hot lap, looking to go for that fastest lap, so I have to keep an eye on that as he gets towards the line. But going wide, looks like could be the runner of Skippy's, maybe getting out of the way or just losing it on the old hards, not having the tyre life he would ideally want. Bogos climbs up into the middle sector, be going to set a fastest lap, get the extra point. And he could be racing Skippy, to be fair, towards the end, who knows. Goose still out in front, and he's now got 3 laps left, including this one, before the championship leader is crowned the C4 champion. And at the moment, it seems like it could be a formality for the Red Bull driver. And of course, it's actually going to be another time that it is a switch of wins from Brandon. Of course, Brandon won last time in Suzuka. In Singapore, it was Gu's turn to take the win. Monza was when Brandon won again, and then in Spa was when Gu won, and then Brandon won in Hungary, and in Germany it was Sue Bounty who took the win that day. So they've been swapping wins ever since the Hungarian Grand Prix, round 9. So it's been an absolutely fantastic battle between these two, and an unfortunate incident for Brandon in qualifying has sort of hampered taking away a brilliant championship fight between the pair of them. I think Bog obviously quite managed to get the fastest lap last time around, so maybe try and recoup a bit of ERS and go again. You see Brandon's pace is electric as things stand. Brought the gap now down to 7.3 from Hayward in front, so depending on penalties could snatch a late podium here as the guys have 2 laps left. Of course, Gu now into turn 4. Brandon giving it absolutely everything. You see he's just got Skippy in front of him. And we'll see, just check out the penalties between the guys. So Hayward currently has no penalties, and I think Brandon just has the 1. So he'll be hoping that Hayward makes a small issue, because Hayward so far has had a pretty good race up in P3, getting his 2nd podium of the season as things stand. Skippy just moves out of the way there. A yellow flag, I think that is just for Skippy moving out of the way. As Gu looks to start his final lap of the race, everyone is spread out by at least 4 seconds. He might have the odd position change in the final lap for the odd penalty. But we see Gu goes in through the centre S's and now down into turn 3, looking to take the final lap of the season. And it has been the perfect race for the championship leader. He's managed to, well, as things stand, he should be winning it on the final lap. Taking the championship win with a win in Brazil as he climbs up into the middle sector and now towards turn 8. It's been a great race for Gu. Pretty much led every single lap, and after the perfect qualifying, a fantastic lap from him in qualifying. And now as he comes towards the final corner, towards Jung Chao, he's going to run towards the line now to take his 5th win of the season, 12th podium. So it's been a prolific podium finisher Gu has been. As he comes towards the line, it's going to be the win and the championship for Gu in C4, and then Sue Bounty also finishes in a P7. Of course, just getting lapped there. Doperman comes home in P2, so we'll move up into 3rd in the championship as things stand. Hayward comes towards the line for P3. Brandon Unfortunately, he managed to make his way up to P4 from the back, but not quite enough for him to move up into that first spot. Last comes home in P5. Skippy came home in P8 as well. So 4th and 5th for the Mercedes duo. We see Undertaker coming out of the final corner. The last man to cross the line in P6. But it has been Gu who has been the man of the season. Super consistent from the Red Bull driver, and he does take the championship here in Brazil. It's been a good season. I've enjoyed commentating on the last few rounds of the season for the C4 race. As Gu comes to collect his race winning trophy. See the number 21 Red Bull car that's taken him to the crown. And a great season for the Red Bull driver. Maybe looking for a promotion into C3, who knows. But that is it as we run through the final order for the grid. The finish, it was Gu who took the win. 3-second time penalty did not hamper him at all. Dopeman in P2 gets third in the championship. Hayward getting another podium in P3. Brandon just missing out in P4. A good recovery from him after his qualifying session. Luss in 5th. We have Undertaker in 6th. Super Bounty in 7th. Skippy in 8th. Bogowski in 9th. And then Fifi in 10th. Fortunately did not finish after the incidents. And Composite in 11th. Another driver who was in the wars today, and unfortunately for him got tangled up with the 2 Haas drivers. Tim Little in 12th and Pete Tapart taking up the final spot with no DNF in 13th. But it's been a great season for the C4, and it looks to improve next season, I'm sure. But of course, we have a week break for the F1 racing at RLH, and we look to go again for the Asia Cup in 2 weeks' time, with 8 races around Asia and Australasia, racing in Australia as well. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for the next F1 racing on RLH.